I'm gonna share with you a secret weapon that many producers use, but it's not talked about that much. And I can testify to that because I've been using it all along, but I've kept quiet about it. And it also makes judgment calls a walk in the park. Stick around to see what it is. Let's go. So this tool is like having hundreds, if not thousands, of reference tracks in the genre that you're mixing in. Here it is, the Izotope Tonal Balance Control 2. I've used it since the first iteration when it first came out some years ago, and I've been using it ever since. It has not replaced my use of reference tracks. I use it all the time, especially if I can find songs by the same artist. Those are invaluable, and this tool right here can't replace that. But what this can do is give you hints and clues of what you are missing or what you have too much of in a mix. Look at this. So here you see the layout, and as you can see, it looks like an ordinary EQ curve. It doesn't do any processing in and of itself. It's a metering plugin. There are 4 bands divided into low, low mids, upper mids, and highs. And then at the low mid band, you have this crest meter that will give you some clues as of how compressed the bass is. So if the bass is too compressed, it will say so. And if it's too dynamic, it will also let you know. So if it's somewhere there in the middle, it's a good sign. And there are 2 views for the bands. You have the broad view, which you can see right here. And then you have the fine bands, which you can see here, where you see the curve is more curvy, and you can see more minute details of what's going on in the mix tonal wise. You can solo each of the bands. So for instance, you want to solo just the bass, you can do that. And you can do that broadly like this, or you can hold in the Alt button and you can click and drag, and there you see the sharp spike. It's a much narrower band. It's more of a fine listening for specific bands. And you can change the Q of this in settings. Just go to settings. You can turn from 0.2 up until 12 is the Q. So you can have a really broad Q as well. And then you have the presets. You have presets for EDM, for bass heavy music. I guess that's maybe dubstep or bass heavy genre. And then you have hip hop, rock, country, orchestral, folk, and so on and so forth. So these are based on many tracks from those genres. And as you can see here, hip hop stands out a bit with this curve right here. I guess this is more of a modern hip hop EQ curve. I often tend to, in my mixes, are often a bit darker, but that's the genre that I operate most in, and that's like boom bap, golden era type of hip hop. And then you have the orchestral, which have crazy low mids and very low subs or bass frequencies. They're really low, as of in country as well, but not that much. And you can make your custom ones. Press here. Besides the preset drop down, you can make a custom preset based on one track or several. And right here, I have made a preset about 150 beats that I've made. This is the curve that this results in. So it's pretty sweet. You can make your own preset curves based on the tracks that are your go-to references, for example. So if you have, I don't know, a folder of 20 or 30 reference track, you can just upload those tracks into the algorithm of the tonal balance control and you're all set to go. At least to give you some hints and clues. Of course, everything is about listening, but you can get at least some ideas. Then you have the refresh time setting. So I typically have this set on 10 seconds to get a more zoomed out display of the frequency spectrum or the tonal balance. But you can change this from real time and all the way up to infinity. And then you have the refresh button right here, which you can just press. For example, when you have soloed some instruments, you can hit the refresh and then it will automatically go back to 0 and start analyzing again. So you don't get interference with the previous analysis of what was. So for instance, here is the whole song. Now the whole song is playing. Now I mute the acapella, so I only hear the instrumental section. See what happens? What happens now is the bass is more pronounced. It's heavier because it's a bit off balance. You have less of the vocal frequencies, which is dominated maybe in the 1,000 to, I don't know, 5,000 hertz range. Then I hit refresh. so that you really can see what the beat is doing. And then you turn the vocals back on, hit the refresh, and then you see we're back to balance again. So that's pretty neat. And that's also if you're a beat maker and you make beats, don't be afraid to use this tool. Make sure that your beat is a bit more bass heavy than the curve allows you to be. And then when you have vocals on a later point, it should even out. And a trick that I use when I make beats is I have an acapella that I just download from YouTube. Then I'll insert that into the project so that when I mix the beat with an acapella, and then I will just mute that acapella when I bounce it. So that's a sweet little hack right there. So I've been using this secret weapon for years now. I feel a bit embarrassed using this plugin, honestly, because it's sort of, it feels like cheating, even though you can't use it without listening, because as you can see here on this curve as well, you have these offsets, you have these bumps and spikes and dips and whatever, but that doesn't matter because it's ultimately how it sounds that is important. But at the same time, if something is off in one of the broad bands, for example, if the low mids are way off charts, you just have to look into it. You can use different speakers or headphones and really listen, do the corridor test. And so I really recommend this plugin. That's it. This is not a sponsored video. I do this just because I love this plugin, this secret weapon. I don't know, I'm curious, have you used it before? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're on Logic, I recommend you to download my 6 free mixing templates for Logic. They have some with stock plugins, some without any plugins at all, so you can insert your own, and some with analog emulations. And really nice, everything is set up, routing, busing, everything is set to go, so you don't have to spend that much time doing mundane mixing tasks as you normally would. All the tracks are laid out in folders, and it's really a neat setup. I recommend you download that right away. It's absolutely free. And if you like videos like these where I go through plugins, check out one of these videos with other plugins that I love. Thanks so much for watching. Hope I see you there, and have a wonderful day. Peace out.